This is part two of my video to answer back some of the issues people have with The Rock at the moment. So it's like The Rock haters. Sorry, my name is Smoking Jesus. Look, I've got a better gimmick than half of the current roster of the WWE. Okay, so anyway, where we last left off was, I think I dealt with the money. I think I dealt with people, The Rock supposedly burying people. But I want to touch on something else actually, because this really again gets me, like, I don't understand it. I think there's some notion in some members of the YWC, the way The Rock and Stone Cold and Kurt Angle and every wrestler who's ever made it got to where they are is by being put over by supposedly somebody else, like Triple H passing the torch to somebody, which will never ever happen, by the way. Or, like somebody has to pass the torch, as such, like Hulk Hogan to $1 Million Man or something like that. Again, a scenario that would never happen, unfortunately, because $1 Million Man was fantastic. But I think this is pretty much a ridiculous statement. I mean, to some extent, there's some merit to that statement. But The Rock losing to CM Punk, and listen to this clearly, CM Punk marks, because I like CM Punk, but I really don't like his fans because they're so unrealistic. Some of them, anyway. Listen to this. The Rock losing at Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber would not have propelled CM Punk to stardom. It would not have made him a household name. It wouldn't have done anything. Win-losses in WWE within reason are not what propel people to stardom. And the idea that The Rock, I think people are like, oh, Stone Cold put over The Rock. I don't know who they assume put over The Rock. But I'll tell you one thing: The Rock's stardom was never planned. The Rock's stardom, I mean, they gave him a chance in the beginning as a blue chipper, three-generation guy. 3 generations of his family had been in the WWE, and people started chanting Rocky sucks, whatever, because they didn't like it. It was all fake and stuff. And then after, he, went into the Nation. Okay, and he asked Mr. McMahon to give him one chance to just speak his mind, and he did, and it was brilliant. It was immediately brilliant. The audience reacted. It was a great heel turn. But after that, while he was in the Nation, the guy was pretty much a jobber. Like, the whole of the Nation were jobbers for ages. For ages. You rarely find a point where they won a match. Okay? The guy, Rock, was jobbing to people like, what's that, psycho guy, I can't even remember his name, from the UFC. What the hell was his name? The guy with the ankle lock. I don't know what his name was anymore for some reason. I do know his name, but it's just not on my mind at the moment. But he was jobbing to him. He was jobbing to Triple H and DX a lot of the time. He was making the babyface factions look good by jobbing to them. There was no sense in which the WWF was looking to propel The Rock to the same status as Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock, by being so charismatic, did it himself. His loss rate was atrocious then. I've gone back and seen it. He lost nearly all of his matches. Okay, it was his pure charisma and the style in which he did his in-ring storytelling. I mean, he was great at that as well. Before he became babyface, where he stopped for some reason being a great wrestler anymore. I mean, I don't know why, but he was actually a fairly good wrestler before. Um, uh, and he just had this kind of style. It wasn't technical, but it was almost funny. It was almost an extension of his funny promos. You know, the way he would kick people with such disdain and whatever, and that put him over with the crowd. They hated him. And then, you know, he was so good in the nation, and the way he manipulated Farouk and all the rest of the guys, it ended up with him becoming a real star. And that was when the star was born, and that was when McMahon, you know, the light bulb clicked for him. Actually, it's not Triple H who they were setting up to be, you know, the big guy with Austin. It was actually The Rock, and that's where the whole corporate rock thing came into play. And Vince Russo was instrumental in that as well. So this notion that, you know, by the time supposedly that Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan, the two icons, passed the torch down to The Rock, that he was a major star by then. He was a household name by then. It, you know, so the notion that somehow if CM Punk had have beaten The Rock at Royal Rumble or in the Elimination Chamber, he would have been on the same level as The Rock was back then. That would have been the thing to put him over. And this whole notion as well that the older guys have to somehow put over these younger guys. You know, Triple H, Mankind, The Rock, Kurt Angle, and as much as I dislike, well, I don't dislike him, I just think he's overrated. As much as I think Triple H is overrated, he didn't need anyone to put him over. He put over himself. The older guys of the Attitude Generation and before, Macho Man, all of that, $1 Million Man, they became household names because they were good. Simple as. It wasn't because they won a match against, you know, like $1 Million Man was passed over the torch by Ric Flair. No, it was just because he was good. Jake the Snake didn't even win a title, you know, at all. I think. I mean, he may have been Intercontinental, but Jake the Snake, one of the greatest of all time, who was much more of a household name, relatively speaking, in his time than CM Punk is now. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't even a champion at any point. He lost loads of his matches, but it was his pure charisma that propelled him to stardom and propelled him to be a household name. If CM Punk hasn't got that charisma, you know, it means it's more than just being able to speak on the mic, and, you know, it's being larger than life, being you know, this great character that has his finger on the pulse of the times, that can capture the zeitgeist of the times, that will allow him to get to that next level. And I honestly think CM Punk does have that talent. I think The Miz has that talent, but they need help. Not from the old guys, not from in terms of you know, losing to them. I think they need help from the old guys in terms of developing them and helping them understand the business and the psychology of everything, and how to create good characters and great moments, because that's what they're lacking. CM Punk's promos, as good a talker as he is, go on very long and they're very boring. And, you know, he has much more time to speak than, say, a Kurt Angle or a Rock did back in the day, and he says less than them. He makes less of an impact than with more at the moment. So that's that. For the last 5 minutes, I just want to go into the Rock currently. Okay, I'm going to admit it, I'm a big Rock fan, but at the moment, he kind of, like, I don't know, he's thinking up the joint. I don't know, I don't think he's very good at the moment. But as I've said, that's to be expected. You know, the guy's done everything, he has nothing to prove anymore. He's just there as a kind of novelty for the fans, the kind of, you know, the history and the legacy of the WWE. So I don't think, I'd like him to be as good as he was before, but I don't think he is, you know. However, I think there is one way of solving it, and so he can go out with a bit of a swan song instead of this kind of mute, um, irrelevant stuff that he's doing now. And I think the way he can do that is by turning heel. Rock has always, he's naturally a heel. Um, his best moments in the WWE were in the Nation, first of all, then Corporate Rock, and then Hollywood Rock. Those were always his best moments. And my thought is, why doesn't why don't the WWE suggest this to him? And I know he'd do it. He's not like John Cena, the children love me and I've got all these people that I'm a hero to, so I don't want to turn heel. The Rock isn't like that. He knows his merchandise and his movies and everything will sell whatever he does. Okay? He's got that confidence in himself. So why don't they do this? Bring it round full circle. Make the guy the heel Corporate Rock. Put him up against CM Punk as a babyface, which CM Punk seems to be a much better babyface than he was a heel. I think he was quite a boring heel, actually. And I've seen some of his babyface clips from before, and he was quite a funny guy. He's kind of guy, like a one of us kind of guy, and that could work for him if he does it too, if he plays it in the right way. Yeah, um, turn the Rock, go full circle into the Corporate Rock. Since everyone thinks he's just a corporate bitch now, and like he's just this movie star who comes once a week and whatever, why not utilize that? He utilized it before as Hollywood Hulk. This Rock, this time he can utilize it as Corporate Rock, which will bring it full circle, as I said. And Vince McMahon all like kissing his ass and like needing him because he's promoting the thing, and like fucking everyone over for him. I could even see Vince McMahon doing something really sinister, and having a last Rock Triple H match as well, where it's like, telling the a real feud with CM Punk to get him back, and then like put him over, as people say. And I think it will be interesting. And The Rock is naturally a better heel. He's always been more entertaining as a heel, and he's winking at the fans, as he says in his video. Giving them a little wink. We know he's doing it for us. He's still trying to entertain us, but he's gonna do his damnedest to piss us off. And he does it very, very successfally. I think his Nation run was excellent. You couldn't have got more boos for his Nation run than any heel. Everything he did, every move, every whatever, just his movement, his body language was probably the best heel work ever. Take away the great promos. And some of his in-ring work where he was just a lot more vicious. He was just allowed to be a lot more vicious. To be honest, I even think, people are like, oh, The Rock is one of the greatest baby faces of all time. I liked him for the first year he was a baby face, before he won the championship. And then he got a bit stale. And that's what's happened to him now. And I think every time he comes back as a baby face, it's just a bit more staler and a bit more staler. He needs to have his swan song. Go back, be the Corporate Rock that the fans want it as well. I mean, you must hear, like, The Rock must hear that the fans like want that, because they're silent when he comes out, and that's never happened. No matter what The Rock has done, he's always got a loud response, and that is bizarre for me. It was almost surreal watching him unveil the new WWF belt, because I was just like, wow, there's three people shouting Rocky, Rocky. And I also hope, you know, this helps, because I don't want him to go to his Hall of Fame and be seen as another Cena. This guy deserves a hero's welcome when he goes into the Hall of Fame, and I hope they do something anyway different with The Rock, because at the moment he's